Cuba, meaning a beautiful place to live. It is one of the few communist countries in the world. However, it harbors such an interesting way of life that it feels like another world, another time. If you're wondering what doesn't exist in Cuba, let's start there. There is no unemployment. Everyone is guided based on their talents while receiving education, and the salary difference between people is no more than 3%. That means a member of parliament and a waiter earn almost the same salary. There is no worry about what will happen to my child. Perhaps there is no greater wealth than not having to worry about your child's future. Women are required to receive training in sports, health, and child rearing during pregnancy. Since newborns are considered the responsibility of the state, all education is equal and completely free. There are no homeless people sleeping on the streets. In the United States, the most developed country in the world, 4 million homeless people live on the streets. But in Cuba, no one is without shelter. And if someone doesn't have a home, the government provides it for free. There are no people who smell of sweat. Soap, shampoo, deodorant, perfume, and personal care products are provided for free every month by the state, and all of them are Cuban-made. There's no fear of being scammed. All stores and businesses belong to the government, and since the waiters, workers, and employees are considered state officials, their salaries are paid by the government. Prices are set by the state, so there is no risk of being overcharged. And all products are partially free for Cuban citizens. If you exceed your limit, you can still purchase what you want for a very low price. There is no need for money. Yes, you heard that right. The highest salary is 30 euros. But most people don't even find this necessary, because almost everything is already free. If you want, the government sends you and your family on a vacation to a place of your choice within the country every year. In every other country, there are restaurants and entertainment venues that only the wealthy can afford, while the poor are left out. But in Cuba, you can go anywhere. There is no discrimination. Since money is not used in the country, a worker and a doctor can go to the same restaurants and enjoy the same entertainment spots without any barriers. Children don't even have to buy a pencil until they finish their university education. Everything is fully provided by the state. There are no hospital expenses or transportation costs. Every citizen of the country can eat whatever they want without concern. The state distributes 2 kilograms of red meat per person every month. Imagine that a family of 4 receives 8 kilograms of red meat every month. Where else in the world does this happen? All food products are organic. Because of this, establishing poultry farms is prohibited. Chickens are raised naturally in gardens. The use of hormones is strictly forbidden. Domestic violence does not exist. Any physical harm caused by a partner, male or female, results in a minimum 5-year prison sentence. There is no reason to worry about health care. Cuba, an island country with a population of 12 million, is one of the world's leaders in medicine. They have achieved an 80% success rate in treating childhood leukemia. The country has 50 doctors. And they don't only serve their own people, they provide free healthcare across South America and even in many impoverished regions of Africa. There is no divorce because people don't get officially married. Since there is no concern over dividing assets, property, alimony, or money, they avoid unnecessary legal paperwork by simply naming their union in a ceremony with family and friends. Electricity and water are free up to a certain limit, but if you exceed that limit, you pay a small fee. This payment exists to prevent energy waste. They care deeply about nature. If you harm a stray animal or cut down a tree without permission, you could face a severe prison sentence. The government regularly distributes food for stray animals. Every stray animal has an identification tag. These tags contain details like the animal's birth date, name, health status, gender, and location. If an animal is lost, injured, or dies, it is recorded in the system, based on the location in the identification tag. Local veterinarians must perform monthly health checkups and report back to the government. Since there is no economic competition or profit-driven industry, you won't see any advertisements anywhere. No matter what job you do, the workday never exceeds 6 hours. People can spend more time with their families and social lives. Dance, music, and entertainment are fundamental parts of life. Everywhere is filled with entertainment venues and street performers. People of all ages spend a significant portion of their day singing or dancing at parties. All entertainment venues are state-owned. The fun never stops. It continues 24/7, 365 days a year. The entire young population engages in multiple sports, with martial arts and horseback riding being the most popular. The streets of Cuba are filled with colorful antique cars. Although buying cars is allowed, people prefer classic cars over new ones. In fact, the most expensive car costs 100 euros, and for a monthly payment of 2 euros, the government provides you with the model of your choice. Cuba has only opened its doors to the world in recent years. In 1953, Fidel Castro initiated a rebellion, joined by Ernesto Che Guevara. After a long struggle, the dictatorship was overthrown, and a communist regime was established. Until a few years ago, the U.S. labeled Cuba as the world's most dangerous country and accused Cuban communists of hiding nuclear weapons. However, the regime survived with full public support, particularly with the backing of the Soviet Union. Everywhere in the country, you can see posters of Ernesto Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. They also deeply respect all leaders who have fought against imperialism worldwide. The crime rate in Cuba is almost zero. In a country of 12 million people, there are only 2 or 3 theft cases per year, and people are incredibly happy. Some of the most beautiful beaches in the world are there. A large portion of the land has been declared national parks by the state, and it is strictly forbidden to harm or disturb wildlife. This is considered one of the biggest crimes. Surprisingly, there are no poisonous plants in Cuba, and the forests are filled with natural fruits. If you ever visit Cuba, you will see almost every adult holding a cigar. Smoking cigars is an old tradition for them and is consumed more than cigarettes. There is no religious discrimination in the country. No one will ask about your religion, nationality, or profession because none of it matters in Cuba. In fact, Malcolm X, the former leader of African-American Muslims, was a close friend of Cuban leader Castro, and once called Cuba his second homeland. However, many houses are still old. Due to a 40-year-long U.S. embargo and international isolation, Cuba was cut off from the rest of the world and is only now beginning to develop. Now, renovations have begun systematically every house, every street. Everything is being renewed. But these updates are being done without harming the character of the cities, ensuring that all homes remain colorful and gardened. In fact, newlyweds are all given garden homes by the state for free. For 40 years, the church and the U.S. labeled Cuba as a land of godless devils. The Cuban people, who have never forgotten the oppression and wars they endured, remember Castro and Che with tears in their eyes. Today, Cuba remains one of the rarest countries in the world where life is livable, humane, and protected, without the fear of what will happen tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video for more content.